Hello everyone, it's thomasjujube, and Bakuage Sentai Boonboomger has finally released its first official trailer alongside tons of new cast and story information, so I decided it's probably time to sit down and take a look at all of the stuff that's been coming out over the last few weeks. So to look at all of this, I'm going to be going through the trailer. I won't be playing most of it or even a lot of it here because Toei's been on my ass recently for copyright, so if you want to see the whole trailer, in addition to like all the information I'm going to discuss, I'm going to leave some links down in the description where you can go see that. I'll also be leaving some links in the description to some real world activities and places you can donate your money to support the people of Palestine that are currently suffering through some horrible situations right now. It is something I did just want to briefly bring up before we can talk about the kids show, because it is something that is affecting kids, but not in a good way. So the trailer starts in a really funny way. It's just because, like, if you've seen some of the fandom circles online, they've been hoping that Boonboomger leaves the green screen environment that's so prominent in king-ohger, and the first thing the Boonboomger trailer does is place the Rangers in a green screen hell room once again. But this time, it does seem like this is not going to be a, like, it's not the entire environment. It does seem like it's either just for this promotional video, or might be just this weird dimension that the cars are all from. From there, we start getting into our characters. So obviously the first guy we see is Boon Red, aka Taya Hando. He's played by Haruhi Uchi, and he's suit acted by Hiroshi Mori. His bio reads that he runs a mechanic shop and is a genius at development and modification, demonstrated by his signature bright red car. He also works as a delivery driver. In the trailer, like, the first shot they show is the red car, like, taking a big drift, and the entire windshield is blocked out, probably because they have a separate stunt driver for action shots like this, and that's really funny to me. Obviously, I don't have a ton to say about all of these characters because they're just kind of brief bios, but I do want to say about Boon Red, something that I do find a little interesting is that he's very different from the last few Reds we've had, because he's not like Agira or Kaito, who's not a Red, but, you know, same idea, where he's like super excited and bombastic, but he's also not like Taro, where he's like super serious. He's like cracking a smile, but he's not like yelling. And I think that's really cool. Like, I don't mind when Sentai leans either way with the Red Ranger, but I think it's cool that we seem to have a Red Ranger who's just a normal man. And also, I do like the emphasis placed on the red car, and it seems to be like one of the first campaign items that you can get is the normal red car. So since they already are selling it as a toy, I'm still predicting that it's gonna be, I think they'll do a drive type Tridron thing, and it's gonna merge with Taya to be his final form, or it might like evolve and create the final mecha. Either way, the final Red Ranger form or the final mecha form, I'm like 99% sure that this red car is a component of that. Next up, we have Boon Blue / Ishiru Meita. He's played by Yuki Hayama and suit acted by Takehiro Yonueka. I apologize if I'm saying any of these names wrong because I'm not Japanese. He's a freelance spy who works as an informant for Taya and does espionage. He's just a spy. He doesn't seem to be linked to driving or anything like that. He's just a spy. Like, all the bios, all the translations say he's a spy, or like he's doing information gathering. And it's just like, why does this mechanic need an informant like this? Is it to see what is wrong with the cars on the roads so you can upkeep your shop for that? I don't know. It's very strange. This feels very out of nowhere. Next up is Boon Pink / Mira Shifto, played by Suzuki Miyu, suit acted by Yume Sakanashi. There is something to all these names, which I'll get into in a second. Mira is an intelligent woman and race car driver who tends to literally drive off towards whatever she finds interesting, and she works part-time jobs. She is definitely the fan favorite so far, at least in terms of like everything. Like, I've seen pretty much everyone, even if they're not saying Pink is their favorite, and everyone is saying Pink is their favorite, they're at least saying like, oh, I think she'll be a lot of fun. And I definitely do agree with that. I do think she definitely seems like she'll be a lot of fun. You can see in a lot of the promos in the suit, she's holding the sword the wrong way because it seems like she might use it as a hammer or like a big stick or something like that. And then there's another promo too where Red is like selling the toy and she just shows up in the back and it's like, what are you doing? Get out of the way. Before they get to the other two, they do go through the villain faction. So the villains are called the Space Mafia Hishirian, which I believe is some kind of like just car pun in Japanese, I think. So they're villains. The villains are kind of generic right now, but that's usually how villains are. The main guy is named Deco Trade, who's voiced by Junichi Suwabe and suit acted by Toshihiro Ogura. He's the leader and decides to invade Earth. That's basically all we know. Woman is named Itasha, voiced by Nana Mizuki, who was a Precure, I believe, so now she's in live-action Toku. She is suit acted by Yuki Miyazawa, who suit acted Nago from Geats. So a lot of the blogs were saying like, oh, she went from a cat suit to another cat suit. And her entire personality is she's the woman that creates the monsters. This last guy is really funny, or girl. I'm not sure what direction we're leaning with that, because it's his name, or their name, is Yaya Yarker, voiced by Sumire Morohoshi. So a woman is voice acting, but it could be a guy, just a higher pitched like child character. And they're, I mean, you can see what they are. So what's interesting about him is in some of the previous videos we got advertising the toys, he's big. He's like a big, like, Zord-sized car fighting the other cars. So I imagine, even if that footage is not in the show, I have to imagine that is something that's happening in the show. Like, we are going to see him grow big and antagonize the cars, at least. And I think that'll be really fun. Like, I think it's fun to have one of the villains just straight up be a car and attacks the other cars. Oh, we get the looks at the grunts, of course. Those are cool looking. They usually don't miss with like grunt suits in recent years. Also, there's some kind of pun going on with their names, I think, but I don't know what's going on with Deco Trade and Yarker. All I know is that Itasha is the name of like custom cars in general. Like if you ever see those cars, I think with like an anime girl on the side, apparently that's called an Itasha. Then we get our other two rangers. So first is Boon Black / Joe Akse, played by Saito Ryu and suit acted by Shigeki Ito. He's a police officer who dreams of becoming a popular hero among the citizens and is more straightforward than anyone else. I think he's going to be a lot of fun. When I was watching the press conference with some of my friends, which I think I'll also leave a link to in the description if you want to hear some of my initial thoughts, he's kind of like the, Nosan from Kyoryuger, which I haven't seen, but like the old man friend of the group. That's kind of what he seems like he's going to be. So I'm really looking forward to him. Then after that, we get the most mysterious of the characters, Boon Orange / Genba Bureki, portrayed by Sato Soma and suit acted by Tomasa Ono. Like, literally all we know about this guy is he's an elusive and mysterious man who's been friends with Red. We don't get like any sort of profession other than like I guess he swindles people, maybe. I do think Orange and Black are going to be appearing a bit later on, but not too late. But it seems like they're going to cameo at least in episode 1, I'm going to guess, because I think the scene with, there's a scene with Black where he's talking about like tire people or a monster, so he definitely sees the Boonboomgers in their first fight. In Orange, there's a brief shot where you can see he's flirting or messing or whatever with Pink. Also, since I haven't really talked about Black and Orange's suits in a video yet, I do quite like them. I think Orange might be my favorite of all the suits. The tire is so untire-like that it kind of shifts back to feeling like a visor for me, and both of them with the shoulder pads is really cool. It's also really cool to have an Orange Ranger on the main team. Like, this never happened, or no, that has happened, but it hasn't happened since Battle Fever 50 years ago. Also, I do want to point out, it does bug me a little bit that we've gone back to a Sentai team with only one woman, at least one woman on the cast. That's, I don't know, I understand they want more boys on the team just because it's a show marketed towards boys, but you can have 2 girls on the team too. The other thing I wanted to point out with the 5 Rangers, I mean, they all look good together. We've got some shots with them with the car and as Ranger suits. The suits have grown on me. The tire, like, everything is still weird to me. I don't love the suit. I don't love the tire head, but I'm used to it now. But all their names are car puns. So the Red Ranger's name is Taya Hando, which is just tire handle in English. That's just his name. Boon Blue, his last name is Meter, like the meter of a car. Boon Pink's name is Mira Shifto, Mirror Shift. Boon Black is Joe Axe. He's Joe Axel. We're one step away from him just being John Carr. That's just Joe Axel. And then Boon Orange is Genba Bureki, brake. Genba brake, like a brake on a car. So it's really funny because this is happening at the same time as Gotchard and Kamen Rider has a man named Spanner, because like a wrench, because he uses a big wrench to transform sometimes. So really fantastic puns, Toei. Then the last thing, well, the last few minutes of the trailer are showing off the mecha, the Boonboomger Robo. And we have gotten a bunch of other videos with the showing off some of the toys, which I didn't make videos on because they're just kind of, hey, look, here's some toys. But those are pretty fun. I do really like this mecha. I think he's I'll get more into that in a second. It's a good looking mecha. I like the use of the tire, but he still has eyes, so that works a little bit better for me. And also you can see some of the action. He's going to be outside, which I hadn't really realized was such, like, at least with mechas, I didn't think that's been like 2 years since we haven't gone outside mecha fights, because Dawn Brothers was inside, and most of king-ohger was also inside, which is perfectly fine. Both of those worked for the aesthetic they were going, but like, there's that one shot where I think the construction mode of Boonboomger Robo is walking through just a grassy field, and they've got fire exploding, and I just went, oh wow, we're back. Like, it's been a while since we've got something like this, so I'm pretty excited for these mecha fights. The very, very end of the trailer gives us my favorite thing, where we can see the mecha can shrink to a normal size, a man size, and he will make curry and be friends with our main rangers. So they don't say anything more than that in the trailer, but external information and the interviews and stuff has told us that this guy's name is Bundorio Bunderas. For whatever reason, he's named after Antonio Banderas, but he's my favorite character right now. First of all, he's voiced by Rika Matsumoto and suit acted by Yohei Fujita. The voice actress is very interesting. Well, it's not interesting, it's cool. Because first of all, it's Ash Ketchum in a Sentai main role, so that's pretty fun. Second of all, she's also the voice of all the equipment in the show, so I think that's really great that the voice of the equipment is just a character. And as Bundorio, she's singing the ending theme, which is going to be a dance again, which has also been like 3 years since we've gotten one of those. So this feels like a very back to basics Sentai, but at the same time they all have tires on their face. So we're told that Bundorio crash landed on Earth, and he provides the main team with their equipment while living with Taya in his garage, and he's also going to he can grow and become the Boonboomger Robo. So that's really fascinating, because again, the trailer does not really mention that at all. Like, he's just in the last few minutes of it as like a big, hey, this is a thing too, but it seems like he's responsible for the plot. Like, he's an alien landing on Earth and providing the team with all their equipment, which is why they all have his voice. Most of you probably know I do love Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. I love having the 4 Kikinoids just running around in the suits, and this guy's basically just a Kikinoid, right? He's just a robot friend that's helping them out, and he can become their mecha. It's just Zenkaiger, but if only one member of the team was a Kikinoid. So I'm really happy about that. I really love this. He's my favorite character right now, for obvious reasons. Robot friend who's silly and becomes the mecha. There's also one last thing mentioned in the blog, which is that coming Boon, we're getting a Boon guest in the first part of the show, and apparently he was there at the cast announcement, but they didn't show him off, which is weird. I don't know why you would bring him to that event but not have him on camera. But anyways, we're getting some kind of special guest that they felt the need to hide from us. And we do know from some leaks and rumors that Go-ohger and Tokyuger are going to be playing some kind of role in the season, probably to the same extent Kyoryuger was in king-ohger, just like an episode or two of crossover maybe ties into the lore a bit. But some representation of those shows are supposed to happen at some point early on, so this could be one of those first guests. I imagine if they phrase it as a boon guest, we're getting more than one boon guest throughout the show. But they're not really marketing it right now, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. So before the trailer came out, actually, we did get just some brief information on the 6th Ranger, and last year with king-ohgers, I briefly brought up the stuff with Spider Kumono, so I feel like I should bring it up now. So we're getting a purple 6th Ranger. I mentioned Battle Fever earlier. This could be a reference, since this has the exact same color scheme as Battle Fever. A 6 that's purple is like how Stay Caesar is like a 6th Battle Fever, so this could be a reference to Stay Caesar. Even if it's not explicitly said, I'm just going to treat it as such. Changer is going to be the Boon Boon controller, and his robo is the Bune Bune Mach robo. That's all we've got. So Bune Bune implies like going fast, so it could apply to anything. But there's like 2 main schools of thought right now for what this theming is, and it's either he's based on trains or he's based on jets. And I personally really hope it's a jet-based 6th Ranger, because that would contrast very well with all the cars that we've got so far. He has jets, he's his own thing. But also I feel like that means that instead of a tire on his face, he would have a jet engine. And like the tire faces are whatever, but a jet engine on your whole fucking forehead, yes, that, now we're talking. So let me know what you think the 6th Ranger could be. We know he's Violet. That's basically all we're 100% on, and he has a robot, but I think anyone could have guessed that. I also bring this up because if Bundorio is a robot alien, and our Hashirians are robot aliens as well, they're all based on cars, I wonder if they all come from the same planet or something like that. And then even if those two don't come from the same planet, I wonder if the 6th Ranger's robo is also going to come from the same planet as Bundorio. We've opened up this lore with robot alien car planets, so I feel like there's opportunity here to expand on that and have like more robot rangers or robot allies. So I am curious to see what is going on with that. I also am curious if the cars are alive. Are the cars also from those alien planets, or are they just Bundorio's equipment and he's the only one that's alive? Many more questions to be answered, but we're gonna get that answered in just a few weeks actually, because king-ohger is almost over. So remember that if you want to hear my thoughts on king-ohger as it ends, I've got a couple more videos coming out to talk about king-ohger. So make sure you're subscribed if you want to hear about that. But if you're just interested in Boonboomger, I will be reviewing the first episode in a big video. And I also will be doing weekly reviews of every episode as shorts here on this YouTube channel. So if you want to hear all of my future Super Sentai thoughts, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. And I hope to see you coming boon.